This is the real slate. It's the actual camera slate from Scary Movie, the A camera slate. Go see it. Scary Movie in theaters now. Get out there.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cinema Flow podcast. I'm your host, Zach Abdelbaki, and today I'm joined by a very special guest, Michael Tiddes. He is the director of the new horror-themed comedy blockbuster Scary Movie, starring Marlon Wayans, Shawn Wayans, Anna Faris, and Regina Hall. Scary Movie is currently playing in movie theaters everywhere. It's hilarious, it's super entertaining. They poke fun at all your favorite horror movies. Make sure to get your tickets right now. Now, please welcome to the show the director of Scary Movie, Michael Tiddes. Welcome to the show, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, man. What a weekend, huh?
I know. I want to say congrats on the big opening weekend. You guys got 55 million domestic, 105 million worldwide on a $30 million budget. So this is your victory lap. How are you feeling today?
Oh, I'm feeling surreal. This is so exciting. I'm so glad that the world is embracing Scary Movie again. The Wayans are back. Comedy is back. It feels like movies are back. I'm just over the top, over the moon with happiness right now.
I know it feels like for the last 5 years, horror movies have been doing well, and now even more than ever. But I've been waiting for like an R-rated comedy that is just like the 2000s, like all the movies I grew up with, to do very well. So I'm so happy, and it seems like Paramount's doing more, like Naked Gun, and they're gonna have Jackass later this month. Do you feel like we're gonna get more comedies in theaters?
I hope so. I hope so. I hope that, I think it was important to make a movie that gave big laughs. We wanted to bring laughter to the world. Right now, it's crazy. World's a serious place. It's too serious to be taken serious. None of us are getting out of here alive. We got to remember to go out, have fun, kick back, take off our, grown-up brains every now and then, and just have a lot of fun and sit in an audience, sit in a theater with an audience and and hear the roar of a comedy as a communal experience is just really special. And I hope that all the studios are seeing what we did this weekend and understanding that audiences want comedy and they want to get back to the theaters and have fun together.
Exactly, exactly. Because, I love it on Netflix. Like, I had the director of Roommates on the show, and that was such a good movie on Netflix. But also, we want them in theaters like this. And One of Them Days was a really great comedy in theaters last year.
Oh yeah,
So hopefully it's back.
Kiki.
Yeah, Kiki.
Yeah,
Um,
Kiki's amazing. She's so funny. I,
uh,
I agree, man. And
mhm,
Netflix is a great place for
mhm.
comedy. I've got two Netflix movies I've done, and those were fantastically fun to do. But there's just something different about, buying a ticket, grabbing your popcorn, and then sitting in a room full of people you don't know that, might not look like you, probably don't agree with you, but all finding, this communal experience that is comedy. And it's pretty awesome to be able to laugh out loud, laugh with everybody, and laugh at ourselves.
Absolutely. Did you get to go and sit with an audience anonymously and just watch it this past weekend?
Oh yeah, no, the whole team and I, we snuck in Friday night and checked out a few showings at the AMC Burbank, and the place was packed. The audience was having a ball. We were just thrilled. And then my family and I, my wife and my daughter, we were here in Atlanta on Saturday, and we went out and did the same thing and checked out a bunch of theaters. And it just seemed like everyone's having such a good time, and that was the goal. And it's so great to see people back at the movies
Yeah.
enjoying and having fun.
Yeah, I was in the Dolby Cinema at Century City and it was pretty much sold out on Friday night. So it was awesome experience.
Nice.
I'm curious, how early did you get involved with this film? Were you involved in the writing process or did you kind of leave the Wayans up to do their thing and then come in after?
Yeah, I was told early on, right when they got the franchise back, and that they were about to write it, and they were like, "Yo, we got the franchise back. We want you at the helm. Get ready." And I was so excited. And those guys were hired to write it. I was working on another movie at the time, so they went off and did their thing, and then they sent me the script, the first draft of the movie to take a look at, which was huge at the time. It was like 180 pages or something. And yeah, look, I mean, these types of movies, especially the Wayans in general, it's always about writing freely, not in a vacuum, and having fun. And as we get closer to shooting it, we're whittling it down and finding ways to incorporate everything that we love about the whole overall 180 pages and fit it into that 100-page script that we shoot.
Is it like you guys do like table reads, like sort of like test screenings to see how the script is and then whittle it down like that?
No, it's no, not really actually. I mean, we definitely have comedic friends and family that we kind of, pitch things to, but when you're working with the Wayans, you almost have your own test audience because there's so many of them.
That's
So it's really about, finding all those jokes, finding the humor, and then like taking a break from it for a second and looking back at it and saying, what's really standing out in this? What's really working? And then also finding ways to where it facilitates, the plot and the through line for Scary Movie, because we have characters that have beginning, middles, and ends in our movie. Cindy's back, but she's been off the reservation, in the middle of nowhere, planning and waiting for Ghostface to come back if he does. And if he does, she's gonna kill that motherfucker. And that's exactly what happens in this movie. Obviously Marlon and Regina's characters have all of their journeys in the movie, and it's always important for us to have kind of that story that holds the movie together, and that kind of helps us hopefully organically lead to all the other comedies that or the other horror films that we're sending up and having fun with.
exactly. And I like it because it is like the first two where it does have an actual story, like kind of paying homage to Scream 5. And then, like you said, with Anna Faris, sort of doing that Jamie Lee Curtis and the reboot of Halloween, waiting for Ghostface to come back. I'm curious, this is your sixth movie with Marlon Wayans, if I'm not mistaken. What is it about this collaboration that keeps you guys working together?
Oh man, Marlon and I think we just have this like childlike love of comedy, and we just get so excited about making people laugh. And there's so many different styles to comedy. There's the mumble, there's the big physical comedy, there's the gags. We like to do all of it, and we like to put as much in as possible. And he's just a fantastic guy. He's a great human being to work with, and it's all about collaboration. It's all about making the best movie, the funniest joke. Early on, it was something that they taught me that nothing was too big, nothing was too, no, nothing was too small to make to send up or to do if it was funny. And it's all about, it's not about making necessarily like a corner of the room laugh. It's about finding a way to tell that joke that makes the whole world laugh. And you see that with stand-up comedians. That's why they go around the country testing their material, working towards that special, hoping to find a way to tell that specific joke in a way that everyone can connect to and that everyone can understand and that everyone can participate in. And that's our goal with all of our jokes and all of our humor. And we're aligned in that way, and we just love doing it. And yeah, we have a lot of fun together.
I want to talk about your cinematography for a minute. I noticed that your shot design would shift kind of when you would parody certain movies. Like when you did Long Legs, you used wide angles and kind of made it like that movie. And then for The Substance, you guys used Dutch angles. Can you talk about your approach to the cinematography and how you sort of paid homage to these movies?
Of course, yeah, I'd love to talk about that. Immediately when I had the opportunity to do this movie, a big thing for me was to contemporize Scary Movie and to kind of bring it into 2026 and give it a cinematic quality, to give it scope, to make it feel like it deserved to be, on the big screen. And a lot of that too for me is evoking the original films that we're sending up. And I think for the hardcore horror fans, they really did see that. They kind of saw it online. You saw these posts where they were, putting the side by sides of, the movies that we were sending up and the movie that I was creating. And so for me, I wanted to really evoke those originals through the visuals. And I wanted you to feel like you were in that movie for a minute. And I can remember going back when I first started this, I think it's just a great way to kind of subliminally create connective tissue to the audience because they're familiar with, oh, I remember this part in Scream or I remember this part in Terrifier and I know it's coming. And then that's when you hit them with the joke and they had no idea that, that was going to happen. And then you get them on their, keep them on their toes and they don't know what's going to happen. And that's when you really can kind of play with them and have fun with the scene itself. And so it was a great way to explore like all these little sandboxes of jumping into Jordan Peele and playing with the Get Out and really kind of nailing, visually what he was doing in that movie and what we're doing in that movie. And like you said, the substance. I mean, there are moments in that movie that are almost shot for shot very similar to the original film, which I wanted, the hardcore horror audiences to hopefully appreciate. And at the same time, audiences that weren't familiar to kind of feel the same impact that those movies gave you. Even to go so far as like our John Wick send up, Terry Stacy, my DP on this movie, who was wonderful. He was fully on board with, becoming how did I describe it? You got to become a chameleon to do this movie. You got to be able to like really organically shift from one to another. And we brought in the John Wick element and went to anamorphic lenses and really kind of leaned into the slickness and the lighting of that film. And the same with Longlegs, playing with the ultra wide. Also Sinners, they shot that on a 70 millimeter format. So unfortunately, I couldn't get the IMAX camera for this movie. Maybe Scary Movie 7, but yeah, we went there. We really wanted to evoke those original, cinematic feelings, and then flip it on the audience and get them with the jokes when they least expected it.
Absolutely. You guys did such a great job. And I could tell you guys had more money for this one than like some of the haunted house movies because and you used it well, especially with that John Wick stunt work and the substance practical effects. It was all super cool. I think the biggest style shift in this movie is probably the scene where you guys send up K-pop demon hunters. The animation looked great. It looked like the real deal. How involved were you with that? Because I'm sure directing animation is super different than directing live action.
Yeah, no, it totally is. And it's interesting. You brought up money, and we definitely had more money than the haunted houses, but we actually didn't have more money than Scary Movie 3, 4, or 5. Those were bigger budgets. We have a $30 million budget on this. It was lean. We were aggressive, but that never stops me from, trying to make the best and the biggest movie I can. And K-pop was just an exciting opportunity to add another texture to the film's kind of visual, rainbow of looks. And working with animation is fantastic. I mean, it allows you to really kind of do things that sometimes you can't pull off, in a normal time, in a regular, actual real setting. So it required a lot of storyboarding, talking with the animators. I shot a bunch of Marlon, acting out different moments with his facial kind of expressions on my phone, and was sending it to them and just saying like hit this part here and make his eyes bigger here. And it's a great collaborative, creative process because you get kind of versions as you go. And from there, you're always kind of pushing towards what your original vision was. And you're also getting inspired by different moments and going, oh my God, that's really funny. We should really lean into that. And I want the demons to be even sexier. And I want to make sure that you do see nudity at the end there. That's hilarious. I mean, there's a lot of fun to be had in that scene, and it was great to do. And I think it's a kind of a standout moment in the movie.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, there's some movies where I'm like, how'd they even get that at the like last minute? That movie just came out, so it's so cool you guys got it all in there. And I want to know what is your favorite movie that you guys parodied? Because for me, it's probably Weapons or John Wick. I think John Wick's like maybe my favorite scene because of the action. But for you, what is your favorite one?
Oh, it's so hard. As a filmmaker, it's tough to like narrow down a favorite. Like I love movies. I love them so well. John Wick is an awesome franchise that has so much fun. Visually, it's dynamic and very cool. I really love the Screams, man. I've always been a big fan of Scream. I love what they did with that. They had that meta style very early on, and they have like a great group of characters and this old school slasher type kind of style movie. Get Out was, I think, a fantastic film, an African American horror film that was dealing with, social parody in a different way. And Jordan does such a great job doing that. So I'd say, I mean, Weapons, Zach, I mean, that dude is a beast. It's one of my favorite movies of last year. So I'd put all those at like kind of the top five probably for me in the movie.
Nice. Yeah, there's so many good ones. And also, I love the popcorn buckets for this movie. There's a What's Up phone and a bong that I can't seem to find at any of my local theaters. I'm curious, is the bong popcorn bucket real? And if so, do you have one?
I was told it was real, and apparently it's in the mail. I'm looking forward to getting that. I do. I think it's like a specialty type kind of situation where it's like, like they did sneakers also, but they only made like five of them. I didn't even get a pair. And so there's definitely like pieces of material that I think are out there that are going to be in the world. But how to get that, I have no idea.
Yeah, it seems a little impractical. I don't think you can fit a lot of popcorn in there, but it's definitely going to be a good souvenir for you to have.
That's right. Yeah, yes. I'm not sure how long that popcorn's staying in there or if anyone's even going to eat it. It's probably better off that it wasn't in theaters, considering smoke can kind of mess up, the visuals on a movie. But what a great, fun idea. And the Was Up phone, I think is hilarious. And I hope that's in the mail too.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely good marketing. One thing I love about this movie is the casting of the younger actors. The MVP, in my opinion, is Olivia Rose Keegan. She does a great job doing Anna Faris's voice. I really believed that they were mother and daughter. I'm curious, how did you and your casting director go about casting all the younger talent?
Yeah, the younger talent in this movie, all of them did a fantastic job. It was, very important to find kind of that next kind of scary movie cast. And we threw a very wide net, saw a lot of people, and then, brought them in, worked with them in different ways, mixed and matched them, and just found the standouts that really had that charisma and the ability to connect with the other actors. Olivia was fantastic. She was so funny. And she did such a great job of evoking that kind of, Cindy Campbell as their daughter that we all know. And her and, Cameron Roberts from that played Jack, the two of them, the minute I put them together, it was actually on a Zoom. We were doing a Zoom call, and the two of them just started going in the first scene, and they just ad-libbed somehow. Like I swear, after the scene was over, I was like, okay, you guys know each other, obviously. You guys called each other, you worked that out. And they're like, no, we don't know each other. That was like crazy. We just went with it. And I was like, man, that type of, charisma and that you just can't find that. And immediately I knew these were the two that were going to be the right for this movie.
Also, my favorite character in the Scary Movie franchise is Brenda. I feel like the best scene is in the older movies is when she's in the theater and everyone's, killing her. What was it like working with her? Because I loved that she's basically playing Octavia Spencer's Ma in this movie.
Regina is just fantastic. I mean, this is the second time I've gotten to work with her. She was in my film Naked, and to bring her back and have her step on set and do Brenda was amazing. It was like riding a bike. It was so fantastic, and she's able to do something that's so cool where she's this, kind of a sociopath type kind of character, always out for herself, saying wild shit, but at the same time, she's able to convey like this heart and you really care about the character and you're rooting for her. And only Regina can pull that off. And her ad libs are always just super sharp and edgy, and she's so funny. It was fantastic to work with her on this movie and see her bring Brenda back to life.
Yeah, I always feel like her and Cindy are just like perfect together.
Oh yeah, when you get Anna and Regina in the room and there's Cindy and Brenda, it's just like it's the duo you never want to see go away. I mean, I could sit there and watch them together all day long. There's such a fun relationship between those two characters. I don't know if Brenda's always looking out for Cindy's best interest, and I think Cindy is probably so naive that she thinks she's looking out for Brenda's best interest, but just the dynamic between those two characters are hilarious and a blast to play with as a director.
That's awesome. And just bouncing off of that, how much improv do the actors do in these movies? Is it a lot, or do they kind of just stick to the script?
I encourage improv on all my movies, especially a movie like this. The script is great because it's got such great jokes. It's like a really just a platform to jump off of and get into it. And then of course, you always hope that your actors will bring their own comedic sensibility and perspective to the movie, and they did every single one of them, and they all had a specific voice. And for me, it's just I try to create a safe space that everyone feels like they can have fun and throw the craziest jokes out there. There's no wrong idea. And as you're creating that scene, it's my job to know what's the better and the best pieces and to kind of run with and help figure out a way to weave it into the overall goal of that scene and make sure that we're accomplishing the goal of the scene. We're moving the character forward. The comedy makes sense. It's all coming from the perspective of that character. That's usually the hard part, reminding the actors like, hey, this is your character. How would they react? What would they say? And all these young actors came in and they were amazing. They held their own with the legacy characters, and it was really fun to watch them do their thing. And I had a blast. And there's quite a bit of of ad-libbing going on this set.
That's awesome. And also, I feel like one of the keys to a good comedy is good editing. So, how did this movie change in the editing room from the rough cut to the finished film?
Yeah, I mean, editing is key to any movie, but definitely in comedy because it's how you, it's part of the math, right? How you tell that joke, how you reveal what's the timing like, and how are you getting to those moments, and are you really teasing all that tension to that comedic release? And it was great. I had an amazing editor to work with on this, John Schwartz. He's fantastic. We had a lot of fun. We spent a lot of time in a room together, cutting this movie down. It was a big first cut, and we knew that this thing needed to be fast and furious. So we almost cut an entire movie out of the first the assembly of the film. Not to go back again and just say like there's a lot of different styles of comedy. So there are moments where we're telling very physical, gaggy driven jokes. So it's about getting the right coverage to tell that story visually so that the audience is understanding what they're seeing. Because sometimes in those moments, the audience is a little ahead of the character, where Jack walks to Cindy's house and he trips the tripwire, and then suddenly we see this big mallet come flying down. We, as the audience, know something's about to happen, and we're laughing because Jack doesn't. And then there are other times where we're editing the movie to kind of be right in time with the character, and that the jokes are unfolding with them. So there's a lot of different styles, a lot of different techniques, and it's definitely important to have somebody that understands those jokes and can help elevate the film editorially.
Absolutely. And is the test screening process helpful for the editing process? Because you said you guys had to cut it down. And also, will there be any deleted scenes maybe on the Blu-ray or on on the iTunes special features?
Yeah, testing for these movies are key. I mean, look, comedy is subjective. Even now, there are moments where I'm stepping into a theater and I hear a joke hit and not everybody laughs, but then I walk to the next theater and the same joke hits and everybody's laughing. So there are always, kind of a gray area in there as far as the subjective kind of, situation when comedy comes. But you want to test these jokes. We have hundreds of jokes that we're trying out. We're always trying to make like I said, looking for that joke that makes the whole world laugh. And you got to listen to your audience. And it's a process of showing the movie a little fatter than it is to see what's really working, what people are connecting with. We don't know all and everything, and we're trying to make sure that we're, keeping our finger on the heartbeat of what is happening right now for the younger generation and also delivering for the legacy generation of audiences. And so it's a process of showing the movie, listening to what they say, thinking on it, and a lot like notes. What is the note behind the note? What are they really trying to say? And how do we accomplish making that joke the best it can be for everybody? And you try different iterations. You go back and you have a process of additional photography where you get to come back in and really kind of pump some of these moments up and shoot some stuff that is like very timely so that people are like, how the hell did they do Michael Jackson? Like that just came out. So that's all a lot of fun. And it's challenging because it's so fast. You have to put this together so quickly. And I was literally making this movie. I finished this movie like 12 days till like before it came out. I was still doing color correction on the movie. It almost never ended, but it's a very cool process, and it's great to see early audiences kind of see what the reaction is, and then the challenge of trying to take those notes and make them and elevate the movie and make it better.
Yeah, I mean, I loved the with the Michael Jackson scene, like the Jermaine Jackson scene, where they're like coming to Tubi. That was just such a good
Yeah.
little hidden joke. My favorite jokes were the Final Destination amusement park, and I also loved the gag with Teyana Taylor and her abs. I'm curious, do you have a favorite joke or gag in the movie?
I'm with you on the Final Destination. I love that because like that's one of those fun scenes that are a little more complex than maybe everyone realizes. There's like a lot of things going on. We're introducing new characters. There's a dialogue that's going on between the two of them where jokes are coming. And at the same time, there's a whole other layer of visual jokes happening in the background, unbeknownst or cared to them. And we're also establishing like plot points and moving the story forward. So I think that was really fun. Having Teyana on set was just a fantastic, fun kind of moment, and making that opening feel epic and big. And when Ghostface is like, she's on some Avengers shit, that's what I wanted that moment to feel like. It was like the Avengers assembling of comedy, in this movie in general. But and to stab Teyana Taylor with her abs, and her abs really do have abs. It's crazy, like it's insane. That was a real knife. She bent it. I think one of the bigger jokes for me in the movie was something that we kept talking about, which was finding a way to take the Wayans brothers universe and cross them over and get white chicks in the movie and somehow pull off, Marlon as Tiffany in the movie, and to do it in a way that no one saw coming was huge. That is something that we fought for throughout the whole process of making the movie and the post. And it was fantastic to see that, come together and work, and to see the audiences really embrace it and have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, the audience cheered when that happened. I was so happy. And I hope they make White Chicks too. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's such a classic.
I agree, man. White Chicks was it is a classic. It probably always will be, and I hope that if they make it, I'm part of it in some way.
Yeah. There's one quote I read about comedy I want to get your thoughts on, where Seth Rogen said that the key to most jokes is you set up an expectation and then you subvert the expectation. It's a good formula. I feel like it's similar to horror movies. You set up an expectation, you subvert the expectation. You got to surprise them. Do you think what do you think of that quote? And do you think horror and comedy are cousins? Because I always feel like, Jordan Peele, comedy to horror, Zach Kreger, same thing. Marlon Wayans did him. I'm just curious to your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think Seth is nailing it. I mean, obviously Seth is an amazing comedy, writer, director, actor. He hits it dead on the nose there. It really is. It's about kind of lulling your audience into this idea that they know what's going to happen, or they think the scare is going to be around the corner, or the joke's going to be this, and then pulling the rug out from them and surprising them with something they never saw coming is key. It's all about catching them off guard, and I think that's if you can do both at the same time when it comes to horror comedy, it's even better. If you can get the scare that is a scream that turns into a laugh, I mean, that's like chef's kiss right there. You know what I mean? And I think horror and comedy, they go hand in hand. I think it's about teasing the tension to the scare, or teasing it to a release, right? Be it a horror scare or be it a joke. They have a lot of the same math. What's cool about horror is you get to have a lot more fun visually. Sometimes you get to flex those muscles. But I think comedy also, you can do that too, which, I did in this movie, which you see throughout the film. I'm all for like the Jordan Peele's and Zach. These guys have done it comedically, and now they're doing it in horror. I hope to do the same thing. I'd love to do a straight horror film in the future. Definitely have a few on my plate that maybe are going to come down the road.
Yeah. Also, I heard you guys shot in Atlanta. You're based there. What is it about the Atlanta crews, like film crews, that are different from other ones? And what's it like shooting there in general?
Shooting in Atlanta is fantastic. I live in Atlanta. I shot my movie Sextuplets out here a few years back, and my family and I just fell in love with the trees, man. There's trees everywhere. It's the city in the forest. It's beautiful. The amazing hikes, rivers, creeks. And then just the city in itself is just vibrant and alive with, a film culture that is really great. The crews are fantastic. A lot of people here, they're professional. They know what they're doing. They love movies. They come out, they're no joke. They're here to work. And doing the movie here was great. It was great to sleep in my own bed every night after a hard day's worth of work. And we shot it at Tyler Perry Studios, quite a bit of it at least. And that studio itself was just it just has so many different it facilitates so much visually for you. You know what I mean? You have it's like a standing stage type kind of set where they have a hospital, they have houses, they have, outdoor areas, they have trailer parks. And at the same time, stages, because we built the Meeks house on a stage because so much of the movie took place in it. And we really wanted to, architecturally even convey a sense of connective tissue to the original Screams. I mean, if you go back and watch it, that stairwell, that walking in hallway, everything, I mean, it is inch by inch very close to what Scream would do. But it was great to work in Atlanta, and the crews here are fantastic, man. I look forward to making more movies here, and I love doing it.
Yeah, I mean, the production design was amazing throughout the whole movie. Like the Sinner's Church was just, I was like, this looks like the real one.
Yeah, my production designer was fantastic, Nicole. This is the first time I've worked together with her. She's a Mad TV alumni. She knows how to just, do a lot with a little, and was just so great, helping to elevate the movie, create many Easter eggs. There's so much to be seen visually in the film. I hope it's one of those movies where people can go back and watch it over and over and get kind of new jokes that they never noticed before. And that Sinner's Church, man, that was a really fun scene. It was a big scene in the movie. You know, we introduced Shawn's character for the first time. We're sending up an Academy Award, record-breaking, film. We actually shot that at Tyler Perry's. That's actually a boathouse that we turned into the church, and we skinned that whole entire boathouse to be what felt like this, kind of small, kind of, Baptist style church in the middle of the South somewhere. And yeah, we pulled it off. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, you guys did an awesome job with that. I'm gonna let you loose on this. What do you think is the chance that we get Scary Movie 7? Have there been any conversations about it?
Man, I don't know. I had so much fun making this movie. I would love to do another one. Get the opportunity to bring the Wayans back and tackle a bunch of horror films that we didn't tackle in this one that we want to. On this movie, we were bringing back Ghostface, so thematically, we were really kind of sticking with the slasher genre.
Hmm.
And there's just so many horror films out there: the Heredities, the Backrooms, the Obsessions, all these films these that are breaking new records. I think. Scary Movie 7, hopefully it's in the cards. And, we've definitely been talking about like ideas like, oh man, it'd be really fun to do this or to bring in the back rooms. What would we do with that? Or where would we go with this one? So yeah, it's exciting. Hopefully this one continues to do well at the box office and we'll see.
Congrats on this one at least, and thank you for bringing comedy back to the theater. For people like me, that's all we want.
Hell yeah, man. I'm so excited about it. And movies are back, comedy's back. Go see Scary Movie and have a laugh and have fun.
Absolutely. Sir, I want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me. Congrats on all the success. Before we go, please let the audience know where they can follow you on social media so they can keep up to date with everything you have going on.
For sure. Michael Tiddes, director of Scary Movie. You can follow me on Instagram. That's my social really right now. Not really anywhere else. I should probably have more, but Mike Titus is my Instagram. Check me out, and yeah, look forward to seeing everybody.
Awesome. I'll put a link to that in the description. To everyone listening, please go watch Scary Movie. It's playing exclusively in movie theaters right now. Make plans, take your friends. There's a link to purchase tickets in the description. And that does it for today's episode of the Cinema Flow podcast. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Ah, I can see that. The mallet from the moment at Cindy's house. I had to keep it just in case. Any jokes I don't like, I smash them. You know what I mean?